but the person who needs the least. If you need the least, you're wealthy. But if you need and need and need and need and need and need, you are so dependent on anything, and anything wrong, simple that goes wrong, ruins your whole life. You are poor because you are dependent. But the one who is not in need of all these things is the one who is really wealthy. And therefore, these people who went to the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wasallam, and they saw this beauty, they didn't simply look at him as a human being that came and delivered the message, but they looked at him as قَدْ جَاءَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ نُورٌ وَكِتَابٌ مُبِينٌ. And the Mufassirin, many of the Mufassirin want to say that the Nur and the Kitab Mubin, both of them are Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. For he is Nur and he is Kitabun Mubin. Al-Quran mentions that. Open up Tafsir Tabari, Tafsir Al-Qurtubi, Tafsir Al-Razi, the Tafsir of Ahl Sunnah, please. Why is that? For nobody lives without love. People always have certain things they love. There's a certain passion in their hearts. But Islam wants us to recalibrate that love, to make it that we love Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and everything else come. You know why? For if you found Him, then you have found everything you need. And if you lost Him and His love, then the whole world and earthly things will never satisfy your hunger. And therefore a man went to and asked the Ninowy al-Masri rahimahullah. He says, I went to Hajj. The Ninowy was a big scholar. He says, I went to Hajj and I saw this man to pilgrimage. I saw this man, he looks very pious, very knowledgeable. So I thought he's a big scholar, big man. So I went and asked him a question. The asker, the one who's asking, is also a scholar. But he saw a man who supposedly looked to him a bigger scholar. He told him, Rahimakallah ma tariqu ilayh. Which means, says, may Allah bless you, may Allah have mercy on you. What is the way to Him? What is the way to Allah? What is the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can I attain the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Like this, in a very vague way. If he's a scholar, he will know. He will know how to. If he's not a scholar, doesn't even understand what he's talking about. The Ninowy al-Masri rahimahullah, he replied back, he says, لو عرفته لعرفت الطريق إليه. Had you known him, you would have known the way to him. He says, أو يعبده من لا يعرفه. I'm worshipping him. You see me now in Hajj. Would someone worship him though he doesn't know him? Would I worship someone I don't know? What are you talking about? He says, أو يعصيه من يعرفه. Would you disobey him had you really known him? Would you disobey him if you really know him? We're talking about love because love is connected with knowledge. And therefore, As-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when people ask, how come Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu did not have a one session a year to celebrate the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It's a very simple thing, because every hour, every waking day was a celebration by Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu to the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr radwanullahi alayhi was in complete fana and self-annihilation in the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. It was not only one day, it was every single day of his life. So much that he came and left all his money behind, not even a piece or loaf of bread that took back to his house. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, what have you left for your family, O Abu Bakr? He says, Ya Rasulullah, I left them Allah and His Prophet. You want to emulate Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala? Show me and we will follow. It was not one day of a year that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu dedicated for the love and the celebration and being happy for the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. It was every single day. Detachment and attachment. Detachment from the worldly things and attachment to the spirituality, the massive spiritual atmospheres that the Prophet ﷺ was around the Prophet ﷺ. These are the things that they've enjoyed. And the reason we have so much struggles and hardships nowadays is because we lack the simple mental clarity. I am not talking about spirituality. I'm talking the mental clarity that we lack. And I always talk about that. Let's go back to the ayah. لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. You have received a prophet, a messenger from amongst yourself, أنفسكم. Received, but what have you done with him? You received the Quran. How did you treat the Quran? You received Al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How do you treat Al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam? Do we remember him once a year or twice a year? Or is his memory ongoing in our hearts? Is the flame of love, because the ashiqeen, the people who love, regardless what they love, those who love, they describe love as a fire. So you have to ask the people who are newly engaged, usually they're in those atmospheres. Hopefully they will stay long, not only for 6 months or something. But we have proofs from the Sunnah, unlike William Robinson and all these social scientists that claim that love lasts only 3 years in a marriage. We have a claim that An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, 23 years, is still loving Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. Even after she died, he was still loving her. Actually, not only that, he would give presents not only to people who had only met her or who know her and say, this is for Khadija, this is for Khadija, this is for Khadija. So I think they're wrong. But the people of Mahabba, they say love has a flame. It's like a fire, burns. And therefore they can't sit unless there is a communication somehow. But they say also, the lovers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they say the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is like a flame also. It burns everything except the beloved. That fire burns everything, including you. You don't even exist anymore. For the only thing that exists in your eyes and heart and mind is the one that you love, Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But if you see still yourself and you see what you do and all these veils and veils and veils, ظُلُمَاتٌ بَعْضُهَا فَوْقَ بَعْض. So we go to the masjid or we come to the session and we see what we do as something worthy, and we're seeing ourselves, we're not seeing the beloved. We're seeing the veil that we put, the imaginary one, the fake one. That's why when my dear brother, the two shuyukh before me spoke, and they gave the event of Thawban radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and they gave the event about the mahabba, because Thawban is a human being, sahabi. But what was Thawban? Thawban was feeling ill for not being close to the Prophet ﷺ. Look at this kind of love. But then he was weeping. And when the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Thawban, why are you weeping? You are now in my presence. You are with me. He says, Ya Rasulullah, I'm not weeping about this. Now I am with you. Whenever I miss you in a dunya, I can come and be with you. But what will happen, Ya Rasulullah, to Thawban when I go to the Akhirah and you will be with the level of the Anbiya and the Siddiqeen and the Shuhada in the Jannah, high level fil Firdaus al-A'la, and Thawban, Ya Rasulullah, will be with the sinners. Then if I miss you, then how can I come and see you? That's the problem I have. Look at that. I want to stop here for a minute, because nowadays when we talk about Jannah, from the business people point of view, because that's how many people treat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like a business. Oh, there are rivers. Oh, there are fruits, mashallah, and all the trees, and everything that you want, and hur'een, and talk about all these things in Jannah. Thawban did not mention any of that about Jannah. Thawban actually was crying, though he knows he's Sahabi, inshallah he will be in Jannah, but he was still unsatisfied, because Jannah was still a cause for him to cry as long as he is not close to Rasulullah.